Hey, welcome back to the Ping Pong Flick Show. My name is Chris Wong. There has been a slew of DC Extended Universe news, and I just haven't had time to talk about all of them all. There's so much stuff coming out, but this is actually a little bit old, so bear with me. It is about Kiersey Clemons. Apparently, she shared an article on Instagram, and this is coming from Variety. Kiersey Clemons to star in Jonas Cuarón's, I butchered that name, Zorro movie. This is from Justin Crow. At the end of that article is an excerpt that just says this year and is still attached to play Iris West in The Flash at Warner Brothers. Now, we've all been calling it Flashpoint at this time, but this is not the only article that they call it The Flash. In another article talking about the supposedly directors from Game Night to be helming the Flashpoint movie has also called it The Flash. So that's actually good news for me, because I really don't think these directors are really able to handle a gigantic movie like a Justice League 1.5, which Flashpoint would actually be if they actually follow any type like the comics or Flashpoint Paradox, the animated movie. So if it's called The Flash, I feel a little bit better that they could probably handle that, as Ezra Miller's The Flash is a little bit more comedic in tone, and so I think they would be able to handle that. But I'm still holding my, I want to see a trailer first. I want to see something that'll actually make me feel better about those two directors. I heard the Game Night movie is actually pretty good. I've not yet seen that, so waiting and anxiously waiting to see how that comes about. But I am glad that they're calling The Flash. I believe these solo these solo superhero characters deserve their own movie in a way, without having to rely on so many other characters around them. That should be saved for an actual Justice League movie. So I hope it's going to be called The Flash. I hope it's going to be, Wonder Woman's going to be only Wonder Woman. Aquaman's going to only be one Aquaman. Shazam, yeah, we'll throw in Superman there because it's Superman. I'm kind of biased at that point. But Flash, I think would be good. And I'm so happy to see that Iris West is still attached to that. Remember those rumors we were hearing? I don't know if there were rumors where they were saying that she was no longer going to be Iris West. They were totally taking that out of the film, even though there was like a clip that actually leaked out where you actually see Iris West, Kiersey Clemons, with Ezra Miller in the Justice League movie. The effects weren't finished, maybe allegedly not finished, but it's so hard to see that someone so attached that Iris would have actually played it and get kicked out without even seeing her. So I'm glad that she right now is still attached to play Iris West, and who knows, this could be all Walter Hamada's doing. He could be going in there, coming in and taking out Joss Whedon, flick him in a way, and it says, Iris West, I think she should be played by Kiersey Clemons. I like what they did there. Let's release the Snyder Cut. Okay, I'm going too far with that. But Walter Hamada, if he is actually in doing things and actually rearranging and actually fixing up this DC Extended Universe, I am quite happy, and hopefully it continues on. Please, that would be incredibly cool. Next up is, this is coming from The Wrap. The Wrap is reporting that DC's Batgirl movie won't happen anytime soon. And you know why? Because they kicked out Joss Whedon. They said, Joss Whedon, get out. And he's going there. He's crawling over back to Marvel now, says, can I please make the Black Widow movie? And they're like, no, ew. But who knows what's going to happen with that. He could go back to Marvel camp for all we know. But he's out of the DC camp, and that we all can celebrate that. But apparently DC Films and Warner Bros. Are in no hurry to move forward with Batgirl at all, and even if they were, it was actually going to be put on a back burner, because what their intention was, instead of making spin-off movies, the studio always intended to develop the core members of the Justice League, according to the insider at The Wrap. Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, The Flash, and possibly Green Lantern before spinning off secondary characters like Nightwing, Deathstroke, Lobo, and of course Batgirl. Now we've been hearing a lot of news about Lobo, Michael Bay, Deathstroke, Nightwing with Chris McKay. Chris McKay has been going to be attached to another film. And so that Nightwing is possibly on the back burner too. So with all these news stories about spin-offs, it seems unlikely that they were even talking about the actual Justice League members, but apparently not. According to this insider from the Wrap, is that they're still going to go ahead with making Batman solo film. They're going to put all their resources and all their time spent into trying to get a Batman by Matt Reeves out and running before even doing spin-offs of any sort. So all those rumors about Harley Quinn movies, maybe even the Joker movie, although I thought I saw an article about that, but all these other movies that are spin-offs in a way are going to be put on the back while they're trying to get the core members to the front, and that I'm super happy about that, because that's who we should be concentrating on, right? We want to see the Batman movie, we want to see another Superman movie, we want to see another Wonder Woman movie, we can't wait to see that Aqua movie that comes out, we want to see a Flash movie, solo Flash movie, and yes, the new Green Lantern. What is that about? But one thing I heard, they're not talking about Cyborg, and that's, I hope they're actually going to do Cyborg movie, because Ray Fisher is one of the greatest things that came out of Justice League. His character development, how small it was, but you can actually see there's a lot more to that story, and there was, because Zack Snyder shot it. Okay, Zack Snyder shot it, and if you guys release that, then great, then we can have a little bit of origin from him, but if not, then he really needs an origin movie. He really needs a solo film movie, and I think a lot of people will be very eager, such myself, to see Ray Fisher as Cyborg. He owns that character, and he's so proud to be that character. So let's let him be Cyborg again in his own movie. But at least they're talking. At least according to this insider, they're thinking about the core characters and not spin-off characters. So I am super happy about that. And speaking of a core member, is Wonder Woman, and we know Wonder Woman 2 is coming out next year, late next year, but it is still coming out. And according to that hashtag show, a source revealed the storyline for Wonder Woman 2 will follow Diana Prince into the 1980s, where she will somehow reunite with Steve Trevor to take on the now dissolved Soviet Union, with Cheetah emerging somewhere in the mix. So it's reported that the film's main villain will be Cheetah. That's okay. That's great. I mean, I believe we always thought it was either be Cheetah or Cersei, and so it have it in not really confirmed in this way, but a little bit more evidence towards that fact is actually pretty exciting for that matter. They're also saying that Emma Stone was supposed to play that character, but she turned down the opportunity. Why? I mean, unless she wants to be a different character. I mean, I could always see her as playing maybe Poison Ivy, or she could also play Batgirl, redheaded and whatnot, but that's fine. At least there was some talk there. There was something going on with that, so they are trying to still find an actress to play Cheetah. Cheetah, this version is reportedly being Barbara Ann Minerva. I guess there were multiple characters that held the mantle of Cheetah over the years. So this version is a British anthropologist who becomes Avatar, the Cheetah god, after locating the lost city of Earth's Gartagon, and I totally butchered that, and stumbling into the middle of an ancient ritual. So there's going to be magic in this, and everything sounds great, sounds awesome. Soviet Union, 1980s, makes sense, but the one thing that just does not make sense is the inclusion of Steve Trevor again, right? With that retcon things, I mean, when they talked about Steve Trevor in Wonder Woman, and because they had the modern scene there where she had the little picture of Steve Trevor, and talking about Steve Trevor in Justice League, it sounded like the Steve Trevor that died was the Steve Trevor in the World War I days, right? So with that in mind, then what is up with this 1980s Steve Trevor? I put a theory out, so don't get mad at me if it actually turns out Right, but because I don't know anything. I'm not an insider or anything like that. I was just thinking, like, what if they do this magical thing where Steve Trevor is not really Steve Trevor, or it was like a plot device in order to get to Wonder Woman on a certain mission and tricking her to thinking Steve Trevor is still alive or something like that. I mean, it could be ancestral thing, but I really don't think that would be a good idea. I was thinking even Cersei, maybe Cersei is the actually ultimate villain, the twist villain at the end, and it turns out Steve Trevor was her hologram or some kind of mystical spell to make Wonder Woman think that she's finally trying to get Steve Trevor or something like that. Just to change it up a little, make it so exciting and thrilling. And I think that would be a better way than just getting Steve Trevor, the Steve Trevor, back into the 1980s. And I don't think Patty Jenkins really wanted that way, right? I mean, this can't be just one of those sequels where they saw, oh, there's a character in the first one that everybody liked. Let's plop into the second one for money, for profit, or to bring in more viewers. I don't think it's not like one movie comes to mind. It's like Sean Connery in Highlander 1. He was so awesome in that one that they brought him back for Highlander 2: The Quickening just because, right? I don't think they're going to do that. I think we've moved in cinema beyond that type of way of trying to get more profit out of people, but more money grab out of people. So I think we've moved towards that. So I'm pretty sure the reason why there is a Steve Trevor in the 19s, in the Soviet, in Wonder Woman 2 is part of the plot, and I think it's going to be a smart one, and I don't think it's going to be the exact same Steve Trevor from before, back in World War One, or unless they're retconning everything we know of in the first Wonder Woman movie and the Justice League movie. So we'll see what's up with that. But there's going to be a little bit more DC news later on this week. There's a lot of other things that are coming out, but I want to talk a little bit about Cloverfield right now. So Cloverfield Paradox came on Netflix, and that kind of tied the movies in a way, tried to tie the movies in a way. The ending, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, the ending shows the ship coming down, reminiscent of the first Cloverfield movie where the satellite comes down into Comey Island. But then in the Cloverfield Paradox movie, this giant monster, the Cloverfield monster, Clovey, comes out of the clouds, and it's huge. It's bigger than the ones from the original film. And so a lot of people have speculation that this was another parallel world, this is a different dimension, this is a different monster, but it has been revealed by J.J. Abrams that this is the exact same monster. It's just bigger, has grown bigger than from the one before. So that means the Cloverfield monster from the first one did survive, and that was really a baby, and now it's become an adult. Timeline is a little bit different, so maybe this Cloverfield monster is attacking more cities as per not the first one. So it's still kind of weird and iffy in the sky, but at least there's some type of confirmation there about the Cloverfield monster being the original Cloverfield monster, just larger and bigger this time around. So I'm really excited about that because he's still alive, and maybe we'll see a little bit more of him. Probably not in Cloverfield 4 though, unless they somehow tie that together. There was a Cloverfield 4 and what they're calling Overlord test screening, and apparently it has gone very well. People were very impressed by it. But from the reports that they were saying, it is pretty much kind of its own movie. It reminds people of like Wolfenstein, World War II, with zombies and some supernatural things. And the way they watched it, there was still some things that the effects were still not done. There could be things added later, but from what people have seen, it does not seem to have any connection whatsoever with Cloverfield. And I think that's fine, because most of the Cloverfield connections, even in Cloverfield Paradox, which used to be called God Particle, 10 Cloverfield Lane, which used to be called Valencia, and now it's 10 Cloverfield Lane. All those Cloverfield connections was actually put in post, and they throw in little Easter eggs here and there, and I think that's part of the ploy, so that the actors and actresses who are in that movie don't even know they're in a Cloverfield movie until later on. And so I think that's pretty smart. Although right now I think more and more people know that the next movie, Cloverfield 4, is really Overlord, and vice versa. It could be called Cloverfield Overlord for all we know. And there's a lot of times to put the effects in, as the movie doesn't come out until later this fall. But I'm really excited to see a lot more about that. And although Cloverfield Paradox was kind of really divisive, it's not as great as Cloverfield 1, it's not as great as 10 Cloverfield Lane, but I think it moves the universe in such a way that we help us understand why things are happening, and how they're happening now. So I think more stories can be told out of this weird little Twilight Zone type of cinematic universe per se, even though it's more connected to Twilight Zone, you know. But like J.J. Abrams said, it's like an umbrella. There's all these stories within this Cloverfield umbrella, and it just, that Cloverfield kind of holds it all. All right, guys, what did you guys think of Kiersey Clemons coming back to return, or still attached to the character Iris West, and probably gonna be in the Flash film? Also, what do you guys think about Warner Brothers actually not really focusing on DC spin-off movies? They are totally focusing on the core characters, the core Justice League members before the spin-off characters. I'm sure you and I are happy, unless you guys were really looking forward to like Lobo, Deathstroke, then I'm sorry. But the Wonder Woman 2, what do you guys think about the reported plot line? Cheetah as the main villain, and Steve Trevor. How does he come back? I don't understand. Cloverfield, are you a Cloverfield fan? No? Well, some of us are. Alright, guys, thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.